Welcome to our session. My name is Dali Tan. I'm a professor of Chinese at Northern Virginia Community College.
I am Lei Wu, a doctoral student from Florida International University. As you all know, the Teacher Effectiveness for Language Learning Framework provides us with a roadmap on becoming highly effective model teachers of world language. Focusing on learning experience domain, we will talk about how we employ design-based research, which abbreviation is DBR, and DBR-inspired instruction in teaching Chinese as a foreign language, which abbreviation is TCFL, courses to help students to learn. The TEL standards we are mainly based on are LE4, LE5, LE6 in learning experience. In this video, we will discuss how do teachers facilitate meaningful learning experience that advance language learning by introducing academic discussions on the definition and the characteristics of DBR, and further explaining our understanding of DBR from 3 teaching activities in Chinese class. First, let's look at how academia defines design-based research. Some scholars define it as DBL, which refers to design-based learning. Here we provide definitions from 4 references. We can see that DBR is a teaching theory that improves educational concepts and educational practice in the process of continuous revision and repetition, focusing on real learning situations and life applications. Therefore, we will introduce the 4 most prominent features of DBR. These 4 characteristics are focus on real life, intervention, iterative, combining theory and practice. Here are 3 scholarly views on real-life focus. The main point is to design instruction based on real life, real language materials, and to apply learning outcomes in real life and real language environments. A major goal of design-based research is producing meaningful interventions and practice. Within educational research, these interventions may involve the development of technological tools and curricula. Iterative refers to the continuous repetition of teaching activities. This repetition may be the multiplication and repetition of several teaching activities in a short period of time, or it may involve repetition between different semesters. Finally, combining theory and practice. It mainly refers to designing teaching activities based on a certain theory and then perfecting the theory in the process of continuous practice and revision. After understanding the theory of DBR, we will discuss it further from a case study perspective. Now, what everyone sees is the 3 stages of a common DBR: preparation and design, teaching experiment, retrospective analysis. For example, this Italian teacher has carried out 6-step teaching practice around these 3 phases. For our Chinese teaching, this video will discuss how to operate DBR from the perspective of repeated design and practice of instructional activities for the same students during the same semester, and so far doesn't involve the teaching practice of repeating DBR between different semesters. However, the instructor has reflected on and has designed improved activities based on the result and plans to implement the improved instructional activities in near future. The first activity is the most common topic of language teaching, self-introduction. We designed a total of 3 rounds of teaching to help students to learn and use the way Chinese people introduce themselves in authentic communicative situation. A serious educational problem we encounter is the lack of sustained motivation in our students, especially when they encounter challenges as they move to higher level proficiency courses. The theory we used in designing this series of activity is second language motivational self-system theory and the self-discrepancy theory. So, we first let the students imagine and vividly visualize their second language ideal self and try to work on a semi-professional or professional self-introduction. Next, we provided students with authentic videos of Chinese self-introduction to help them understand more vocabularies, sentence patterns, and the way Chinese people introduce themselves. Students were given the opportunity to introduce themselves, and to guide and revise their self-introductions in preparation for future enrichment of their self-introductions. Finally, after several rounds of revision, the students were able to send their self-introduction videos to English learning students from Xingtai, China, and take advantage of the opportunities to communicate with those Chinese students on a comparative project assignment. Through authentic dialogue and self-introduction, students had acquired a very rich language knowledge and ability. Here we share with you Amanda's self-introduction audio.
你好，老师 This is my revised professional introduction. 大家好，我是高曼曼。曼曼的意思是漂亮。我的名字是我的第一位中文老师给我取的。今年20岁。我出生在德克萨斯州，但我目前在北德克特州。我学习商业航空和国际研究。我正在学习法语和中文，两种语言都很重要。在亚洲讲中文这个大陆对美国经济有很大的影响。我喜欢学习中文，是因为这个国家的历史和文化。我想成为一名飞行员或者为 CIA 工作。计划1、计划2。我有远大的梦想，所以我非常努力。在我的学校，我在舞蹈队、国际象棋队和飞行队。我有很多领导角色，例如担任 Reach Out to Outreach's nonprofit to CEO。目前我为 NASA 工作，我认为我为 NASA 工作很有趣。我喜欢结交朋友，能让别人微笑让我很开心。我还喜欢弹钢琴、做饼干和看电影。经过漫长的一天，这是让我平静下来。我很高兴能继续我的中文学习。这是一个条件。谢谢，Thank you， 再见。
We encourage students to communicate with native speakers because contact with native speakers promote language learning motivation. Meanwhile, this type of tele collaboration is mutually beneficial because Chinese students also have the opportunities to practice and improve their English proficiency. For example, Raven, who is currently studying at Tsinghua University in China, shared her views on participating in this type project.
Hi, my name is Raven Witherspoon, and Tan Lao Shi asked me to speak a little bit about my experience with language exchange at Nova Community College. So I guess I'll start by saying that I didn't really know I was going to be doing language exchange. I think we were about halfway through the semester when Tan Lao Shi sent me an email that said, "Hey, your pen pal's ready." And I said, "My pen pal?" And she said, "Yeah, I've set up a language exchange with Xingtai Polytechnic College. There's 1 or 2 students there that you'll do some assignments with, but why don't you go ahead and send a message and you guys get to know each other?" And I was terrified because I was only a 102 level language student. I didn't think I'd be able to speak to someone who spoke Mandarin as a first language, especially not through text or through Zoom calls. So I was really, really nervous, but I decided to just go for it, and I sent a message to the pen pals, and we set up our first meeting, and it actually was really, really fun. We definitely had some hiccups here and there. We had to use some translators to help us every now and then, but I think we all learned a lot. We talked about intellectual humility and cross-cultural engagement, and so I learned a lot about not only, the language process and my target language, but also about their lives and how they see the world. And in addition to those two students, they had one friend whose pen pal never responded, and so they sent my number to him. And we've never done an assignment together, but we are pretty good friends now. I think it's been about 10 months, and we still text all the time. We just share music or videos or our thoughts about life or the news. So I think if you're a teacher who's wondering if you should set something like this up for your students, I would say absolutely go for it. And if you're a student who's kind of on the fence about whether you should participate in a language exchange, I absolutely recommend it. It was an amazing experience. I learned so much, and I really, really hope that it's as fulfilling for you as it was for me. So, good luck!
During and after the completion of the project, we also did some self-reflection. We would like to add self-introduction videos from professionals from diverse cultural, racial, and ethnic backgrounds to ensure all my students can see themselves in the content of our instruction. We would also like to dive deeper in our class discussion on cultural perspectives of the cultural products and practice. We can also ask the Xingtai partner to provide feedback and suggestions on how to further improve their self-introduction video. The second activity is web-based teaching employing a Chinese language learning open educational website based on a famous Chinese painting. Thanks to a grant from the Star Talk program, our North Virginia Community College team can build the framework and 4 interactive modules. We hope to use the zone of promaximal development theory in the process of DBR to help students continue to improve on their existing Chinese proficiency, because it is challenging to differentiate instruction to meet needs of all students and develop their multiple intelligence. In the first round of teaching, we let students learn by themselves through group cooperation, mainly to learn the Chinese words and sentences corresponding to the information they can think of in the painting, and students can use reference books during this process. After encouraging students to study on their own based on their actual situation, we helped students learn the required content that needs to be mastered on the topics related to this lesson. By using the StarTalk eTower website, students can learn more language and cultural content. In this way, students can choose their own learning content based on their interests, and then complete the necessary learning content according to the teacher's requirements, so they can improve their Chinese proficiency. In the third round of the activities, we will increase the students' learning content again, that is, require students to combine what they have learned in the first two rounds, and group members will show their learning results through story performance and poster design and other format choices. What you can see here are some of students' classwork samples. Students wrote a time travel play, go back to the Song Dynasty, experience the ancient Chinese culture while having some funny and interesting conversations with the people in the painting. Just now, we shared two teaching activities that we have implemented in a process of constant repetition, intervention, and modification. Next, we will provide a reading task that we have not modified but will use DBR theory to improve it. Students read an article about two murals in San Francisco's Chinatown to learn Chinese and focus on some current social issues. A 2021 Deloitte survey shows that Generation Z wants to end racism and bigotry and has taken action to affect change for a better and more equal and just world. That is why I have chosen this news article about how students in a StarTalk summer program took action in stopping the anti-Asian discrimination and in supporting the community healing process. This interpretive task was designed to be an individual activity. We encourage the students to read this news story, take a closer look at the murals involved, and answer the following questions through personal reflection and thinking the actions that they should and can take to create a more harmonious community at home and more just world globally. Now, we are looking at a sample of student work. And this is the student work with instructor's feedback. After receiving the written essays from students, I provided written feedback based on their answers and Chinese expressions. I did the following reflections and future project design and implementation based on the student work samples and the design-based research approach. Like we said before, DBR continuously improves instructional design in an iterative process. For this event, we plan to make some improvements in the future. First, we will join Xu argument. Xu argument focuses on the combined development of students' reading and writing. After students read the article about murals in San Francisco's Chinatown, they continue to write based on their own personal experience and the content of the article. We plan to bring students' attention to the instance of the cultural symbolism of nurturing healing and transformation and the locality of the two murals in our comprehension questions design at the interpretive phase of this project. We will then collectively read an authentic article on Chinese symbolism of nurturing, healing and transformation and brainstorm collectively on similar or different symbolism from students' own cultures. Then we will have a discussion on the comprehension of the similarity and differences of the symbolisms from different cultural traditions and the cultural perspectives. We have always believed that the learning Chinese should not only be used for self-improvement, but also make a contribution to the community and society. Students are therefore encouraged to share the results of their collective work with local newspapers as well as other learners of Chinese language and culture.
Above, we have reported to you our design-based research-informed and inspired practice, reflection, and future plans to dive deeper into DBR and classroom implementations. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any suggestions and comments, please feel free to contact us. We look forward to hearing from you and collaborating with you.